Welcome to Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host from Vision 33. Today's topic is, it's really one of two presentations we're going to be doing on sort of reasons to upgrade to version 10. If you're an SAP Business One user, that makes perfect sense to you. If you're on any version other than version 10, that makes a lot of sense to you. And just to let you know, in 2 weeks, so on the 26th of July, Rainer Zinau from SAP, who is the vice president responsible for the development of SAP Business One, will be our special guest. And so when he's there, it'll be kind of part two to this. He'll talk to us about what SAP is doing with SAP Business One that you can look for in the very near future. And that's a discussion that you should want to be a part of and to hear what Rainer has to say. So today I want to talk with you about why upgrade to version 10. And I'm approaching it a little bit differently than usual. I'm not just going to show you demos of the product, although I'm going to give you two links, which I'm going to paste into the chat here in a little while so that you can download them and see these two different demos about all the features in version 10 that you might like to take a look at. And you'll be able to do that at your own leisure. But I want to talk about some business reasons that you should consider upgrading. We'll go through a couple of pages of, a list of some new features and functions in SAP Business One that I think are important to realize are there. And then we'll talk about why you should upgrade to version 10 and thinking of kind of an overall digital strategy for business. So all of these are reasons, why people upgrade and why they're looking to get certain things out of the upgrade experience. So first of all, I want to talk about some strictly business reasons for upgrading to version 10. A lot of it is easier expansion or growth. You really set the stage for an enhanced business process when you upgrade. Think of it this way. Since 2009, which was version 8.8, there have been over 500 plus new feature and functions or fixes added to SAP Business One. The single largest jump that I have seen was between version 9.2 and 9.3, with a quarter of that jump in that version skip alone. So there's an awful lot of enhancements and development time that goes into the product. And it does this to make your processes easier, listening to customers about things that should be done, processes that should be modified, modules that should be expanded for more functionality. So when a module was first released, like say when project management first came out, it did not have an interactive Gantt chart, but it does now. So there's many changes that will really make expansion easier, make growth easier, and take your business to a new level because the software is providing you with that capability. Experience of growing your business, whether you are setting the stage to be acquired as a business, or whether you're looking to acquire other businesses to add to your own, upgraded software will make that easier. Businesses looking to acquire a business are definitely asking the question, and what kind of software, what's your ERP system that you're running your company on? That is important. And running a first-class ERP system like SAP Business One and having it be up to date is a good motivator for buyers. Likewise, if you're acquiring a business and you have a first-class ERP system like SAP Business One, blending them into your company will be far easier on later versions because there are more tools and more capabilities in those later versions to bring in data and bring in transactions and all of those things that are essential to a business acquisition. Outdated technology is something that we see a lot. Some folks try to run on an earlier version for a long time, some as long as a decade, and it becomes outdated. Outdated technology really places companies at risk in today's world, from hackers, breakdowns, viruses, data loss, and just the topic of ransomware alone. 93% of the time when these ransomware hackers try to get a hold of your data, they also try to destroy your backups at the same time. If they're on the same system, that's one of the basic things they target. So it prevents you from just using a backup. Only 14% of people that have been impacted by ransomware have actually been able to restore their systems without paying those guys, right? The ransom. And Of those that did, 19% of them were never able to restore their systems. They had to basically start over from scratch. SAP Business One, through subsequent versions, addresses all of the security risks to the database and to the data and to the system. So these upgrades that come along from SAP development are not only about features and functions, they're also about security in today's marketplace. And so you must constantly be thinking about that kind of security, because ransomware as an industry, if we consider it an industry, hard to do that, but it's been valued as a $14 billion industry in the world today. And if you're not thinking of it this way, you should. Every business is on their prospect list. Now, to help you stay in compliance, SAP's development prioritizes legal changes to the software. So they go to the top of the list. So one of the things when you put in a development request with SAP is they always ask, is this a legal requirement? Because legal requirements go to the top of the development list. And with every set of release notes that comes out about SAP Business One, the legal requirements that had to change are spelled out. And of course, this is a global product. So you can imagine throughout the world, governments in general never really stop creating regulations for business. It's a more regulated world all the time. And these changes are reflected in how the software operates, the kind of reports that it will generate, and the processes that are followed, right? All of those are addressed in legal requirements. So you want to stay in compliance, right, with all of that. Internal changes. The truth is that, companies change or they die. They must add new product lines, procedures, processes. The world of business has changed dramatically over the past 15 years with the internet, e-commerce, the pandemic, supply chain, challenges of all kinds, cloud computing, in-memory databases, SAP HANA, to just name one, and updated SAP software addresses all of those changes. Okay? So there's just a lot of internal changes that your business goes through. And to address those changes, the software changes over time with the demands that are placed around it in the business world. And I would also say that maintenance and support is important for you to think about, because you should take advantage of the investment you make in maintenance and support. You do pay it either once a year or every month, depending on how you're deployed. And that money that you pay is an investment in all of these development things that are benefited in each new version of the software. So the current users of SAP Business One, 75,000 of them around the world in businesses, their annual maintenance is really funding the development of a better product, right, with each release. I would also say that a key reason is security. And you'll notice that on each page of my presentation today, I have starred something. On this page, I would say that security is the number one reason, strictly business reason, that you should consider upgrading. The world of username and password security is about to move on into new forms of security and login procedures, right? Things like biometrics, multi-factor authentication, one-time passwords, social signs-in, and security authentication. Those are just a few of the new security methods that are going to come out. And Rainer will talk more about this, I hope, in a couple of weeks. But starting with feature pack, I believe it'll be called 2305. It was due out in May of 2023, but still hasn't been released. They're still working on it. It will start introducing a whole new type of login security and its concept. So security in today's world is really, really important. And every business must definitely be heads up about that type of security. And SAP is at the forefront of making sure that your data as a company is secure. So now I just kind of want to go through a list with you of a couple of pages of key features and functions in version 10 that if you're not running version 10, you won't be aware of. And I sometimes find that even people running that version may not be aware of all the features and functions, and it's hard to kind of swallow them all at once. So there's always a reason to kind of review what's there and look into it. So of course, there's improved usability, where the system is just easier to operate, right? And has a few more shortcuts. And the right-click menus have another function or two that make life easier. And the ability, to have a button that you can instantly look at customer balance, right? Things of that nature. So just they're small, but they're significant because they're all about usability and the ability of a user to easily get to the information they need from a lot of different places conveniently. In financial management, after many, many, many years, they began to add drill down capabilities, especially in reports. So that in reports, you can drill down to extended journal remarks. Posting period enhancements have also been made, which makes it easier to manage your posting periods, and even some fixed assets enhancements that if you work with fixed assets, you'll be very glad to see them, I'm sure. Because this is one of those areas, as I mentioned, where features are introduced and then maybe a couple versions later, enhancements are added, which make that module, like fixed assets, a far better experience for the user. There's easier referencing and document duplicating. So you know that some documents, as you kind of copy them, from, let's say, a sales order to a delivery, they automatically kind of reference each other. But now there are many manual ways to reference documents together that maybe don't happen out of the box, so that you can do your own referencing and kind of keep things in order the way you want to see them. And document duplicating has also been changed a little bit, so it's easier for you to make that happen. One of the biggest changes in the latest version was that, if you are in the UK, the Brexit localization is really important for you. And if you're still running an older version, there are some, kind of workarounds for that and other little add-ons that people have done. Vision 33 has even done one, I believe. But out of the box, version 10 addresses the Brexit localization legal requirements. One of the latest enhancements has been the introduction of Office 365 integration. So things like Microsoft Teams and other Microsoft applications are much more intertwined now with the capabilities of SAP Business One. And that should be something that, with the sending of email and the communicating of all sorts of things around the team and things of that nature, and using an ERP system together, the two of them hand in hand can be a great work improvement device. One of my favorites, because it's really something you can say about every version that's been released for the last number of years. For me, it's getting up to around 20 years now, is that there's always been a high focus on stability and performance increases. And today's product with SAP HANA as a database and running in the cloud certainly is performing at a level higher than ever before, and its stability is first rate. So those are reasons, if you're running an older version and experiencing problems with either of those, moving to the new version does make a significant performance and stability difference. I would also say on this page, the number one thing I want to mention to you is the new web client. The long-term goal, and of course, Rainer will speak to this also, because from SAP's perspective, it is the single most important thing they're doing with SAP Business One, is completely recreating a web client for Business One that is, modern world. And we have many things that have already been released in it. It's a tremendous analytics tool that you can run alongside the regular client. And many of the standard processes for sales and purchasing and inventory are now a part of the web client. The goal is to put about 80% of the functionality of the regular desktop client into the new web client, which will add a high degree of portability and mobility to the application far beyond what we've ever had, and will give it a modern interface for years to come. So this is something that you definitely want to take a look at in the demos links that I'll give you in a little bit. Those new web client demos are a part of that, so you can get a firsthand look at what it looks like and be able to see it up close and personal. So continuing with some of these key new features that I want to be sure that you're aware of, the production management enhancements have been released in version 10 also. Resources in production, stages in production, and the latest one that I'm aware of is the drill down from a production order to the BOM to the item master. So again, capabilities that we didn't have before. There were ways of doing it, but now there are much faster, easier methods for getting to that information, which just makes it much more usable for you, the person at the keyboard in SAP Business One. There are also enhancements to stock management. serial and batch item costing for AR reserve invoices so that you can reserve inventory at the serial and batch level for your customers. There have been significant updates to the unit of measure groups, which makes that a far richer experience also. And in production management, I mentioned this the other day, a few minutes ago, actually, that there are now interactive Gantt charts. So we didn't have them, then we had Gantt charts, and now they're interactive. So all of those are growth steps, in the project management piece of SAP Business One. And there are advancements to approval procedures. This is the starred one on this page, because for years, it has been difficult that if you needed to sort of add to something that had already been approved, you couldn't do it. You had to kind of trash it and start all over. But documents may now be amended and automatically resubmitted for approval. No more cancellations and starting over. That is significant for any of you that are using approval procedures, and almost every company does to one degree or another. They may have tried it at some point and not been pleased with it because of some of these frustrations, but I think you need to take a look at it again if that's the case, because a lot of work has been done over the last couple of releases to make sure that approval procedures are operating as our customers expect it to. So now what I wanted to talk to you about is from reasons to upgrade are what I refer to as your digitalization strategy and why upgrades are important as you think about that in particular. One of the topics that many customers need to consider is basically a redeployment using SAP HANA. SAP HANA is an in-memory database. It's the only in-memory database supported by SAP. The SAP HANA version has additional features not found in the Microsoft SQL version, and they include things like advanced cash flow forecasting, advanced available to promise, intelligent forecast for production, pervasive analytics, customer 360, interactive analysis, Excel reports, and the sales recommendations. And there's others to go along in that list that are not present in any version of SAP Business One where you're running Microsoft SQL. Now, the Microsoft SQL version is never going to go away. So it's not like it's going to stop working or anything at any point. But if you really want all of these features, you have to redeploy using SAP HANA. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can't just like flip a switch and go from SQL to HANA. You can't, use all of your data. You kind of have to put your master data into the new SAP HANA system and go forward from there. You could keep your old SAP system operational for some time, but you would need to kind of redeploy using the HANA database. That's a consideration, not a requirement by any means. Can you be a digital company without using SAP HANA? Yes, of course. Why is it helpful? Because it's in memory. It's faster. It's better for analytics. And because SAP has invested all these additional features in that version. Obviously, for them, there's a business reason. They would much rather have customers purchase SAP HANA rather than Microsoft SQL. And today, probably 70% of all new customers for SAP Business One do select SAP HANA. But we have hundreds, SAP Business One customers, hundreds of them that still run Microsoft SQL and love it and will stay on it forever. But it is a consideration. Newer versions are much more easily capable of integrating and automating using Saltbox and other tools. Saltbox is a Vision 33 product, of course. So the service layer in SAP Business One is now available in both SAP HANA databases and Microsoft SQL databases. So this makes it far easier to integrate with modern tools that are cloud-based like Saltbox. So this service layer, designed with the cloud in mind, provides far easier methods for integration and automation. And combined with this Saltbox type platform, an integration platform as a service, iPaaS we call it, which are all designed with all of these cloud tools in mind, these projects go much faster and much more productive, and only one tool is required for all integrations. So if you were a company that had 3 different websites, a CRM system you wanted to integrate, and some other kind of quality system you wanted to integrate, you could do all of that integration with Saltbox. If you wanted to automate Business One procedures without having to do it with something like SAP's partner Boyum's B1UP application, just do it in the background automatically. Saltbox can provide for all of those types of automations. One simple example is in production in SAP Business One. If you have a production order that has production orders within it, sub-assemblies, when you create that production order, the sub-assembly production orders are not automatically created. But in the background, we can automate that process so that as soon as you submit the parent production order, all of the sub-assembly production orders are automatically created in the background. And many more automations like that can help you take advantage of modern software capabilities. The process of digitalization can help a great deal with growth. It's all about integrations and automations. An up-to-date modern ERP system is the bedrock of any strategic digitalization endeavor. The first step has to be to ensure that your ERP is adequate for all your digital initiatives. And companies with a strong digital platform have a distinct advantage in today's business climate. So you'll notice that I have starred on this last page, move to the cloud. And again, this is not a requirement, but it should be a serious consideration. 80% of new customers are deploying today in the cloud. They believe that there are lower costs, that maintenance and upgrades and access to emerging technologies, security, implementation speed, real-time data, easier customization, simplified compliance, accessibility, scalability, disaster recovery, and just flat peace of mind are the reasons why. Gone are the days where we try to justify the cost of moving to the cloud as opposed to putting new servers on premises. The reasons for moving to the cloud are far more than just what does it cost. There are arguments on both sides that it'll cost more and it'll cost less. But the cloud is the platform in today's business world for growth. It is the platform for integration, the platform for automation. It is the platform for the release of all new technologies that are coming, like AI and machine learning and all of those new tools that we all hear about. They are done in the cloud. And integrating to them, taking advantage of them, is far, far easier when you are in the cloud as a business. So those are the reasons today that I wanted to share these things with you, just to kind of give you some business perspective, I suppose, in terms of why you should upgrade. In a couple of weeks, as I mentioned, Rainer will be here, and he'll talk to us about what SAP is doing with SAP Business One and their commitment to SAP Business One in the years ahead. So that will be important also. And please look for that email and the links to watch those more extended demos about all the new features and functions. I know those are important to talk about, but these business reasons, your digitalization strategy, and just business strategy about upgrading are important to discuss and think about as a company. Thank you for joining today. I don't see any questions. I appreciate your being here for Wednesday Web Chat, as always. And we'll look forward to seeing you on another episode of Wednesday Web Chat.